Elise here from Lifeway Newcastle for our Kids Way Exploring video for this week. It's our third week of our new series, Faith Formed, and today we're going to be talking about relationships. And we've got Maureen from Lifeway at Newcastle who's going to share with us a little bit about how forming relationships has helped to increase her friendship and improve her friendship with God. So thanks, Maureen, for sharing with us today. Well, thanks, Maureen, so much for joining us today for our exploring video. It's lovely to have you.
Good to be here. I'm quite excited, Elise. What are you going to do? What are you going to ask me?
Well, this week we're talking about relationships in our Faith Formed series. So I guess the first question I have for you is, what would you say is a relationship? What is it?
It's more than a friendship. It's a bond where you respect somebody, you care for somebody. I'll tell you a lot easier way to explain this, Elise, is our parents are the first relationship we ever have. And you think about our parents, they love us, they care for us, they understand us, they encourage us, and so just for instance, say, you're really trying hard to maybe pass an exam or be the best at some sport, and you've tried so hard and you failed. And you're devastated. And Mum and Dad come up to you and say, look, you've done your very best. We're so proud of you. We know how much work you put into this. And, you're going to just keep at it. Next time you're going to be better. And, because your parents have that faith in you, you encourage and you go on. And I think that's important in a relationship too. So these things later on in life, your friends, we all have friends, from school and sport and going to church and our own parents, relatives sometimes. So you have this friend and because you've got a common interest. And then sometimes something happens and you want to know this person better. There's something about them. So you spend time with them, but you don't kind of smother them, you give them freedom. But as you get to know them better, you begin to share things more carefully, you share things, and you want to build them up. Just like Mum and Dad built you up when you were down. And, the other thing that you learn too from Mum and Dad or that you learn how to deal with Mum and Dad. Sometimes Mum and Dad get, they have a bad day or they're tired, or you sense that something's not quite right with Mum and Dad. And I'm sure that every older child in the family has learned.
Absolutely.
Okay, young ones, get out of here because Mum and Dad want some quiet time.
Yeah.
And I think that's important in a relationship, that you respect the other person. Doesn't matter how much you care for them, but you never knock them down. You're always building them up, and you're respectful. Sometimes you'll have disagreements, but you need to be respectful of each other's opinions.
Yeah.
So it's closer than a friendship. It's more beautiful than a friendship.
Yeah. So from what I'm getting, Maureen, it's about knowing one another. It's really about that knowing part. You know them and they know you. And that's really wonderful. That's excellent. So obviously we're in this Faith Formed series. And so we're trying to look at how do these things, so far we've talked about praying and listening to God when we're reading the Bible. And today we're talking about relationships and how that helps not just our friendships with each other, but our friendship with God. So how has building those relationships with people in your life helped your faith and your friendship with God?
Oh, Elise, where do I start with that?
Yeah,
I think it's just as you, oh gosh, let me think for a minute. I have this down here too. I think what happens is as you learn this friendship, as I learn friendships or relationships, and then I kind of read my Bible and I see God's relationships to other people. First of all, I think in the Bible you see his relationships to other people before I really put it to myself. And then you think, oh, yeah, that's right. This happens. We care for each my friend and I, or my close relationship with somebody. And, and God's the same. He cares for me just the same. In fact, he's more accepting of me than my friend.
Yeah.
He's more accepting. And, I know sometimes I disappoint my friend or my close friend, disappoint them sometimes, but God understands that. So I think what it's done, it's given me the friendship with my relationship has given me a greater understanding of what God's friendship to me means. God becomes my friend as well.
Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like you were saying before, we do have disagreements, and we do, our friends frustrate us and things. And I think sometimes it's hard to love people in the midst of that. We don't feel it necessarily, but, when we remember that God loves us when we're not, falling in line with what he wants to, that helps us we can love people with his love, can't we? So
I think that's one of the things. I think one of my relationships, Elise, is with somebody whom once upon a time I couldn't really. I thought, oh no, here they come again.
Yeah.
And just sort of one day thinking, actually, I thought about God, sort of Jesus. He accepted everybody, and he did. One day I thought, I've got to learn more about this person. And we have shared, and especially over this COVID thing, when we're kind of forced sometimes to, not forced, but our situation is you spend more time talking.
Sure.
We've become quite close to this person.
Lovely.
Yeah, and it's just because, so you're right, you don't have to a relationship doesn't necessarily grow. This relationship didn't actually grow out of a friendship, but it grew out Jesus accepting everybody.
Lovely.
And stop and think.
That's wonderful. And I think that's a really great thing for us to remember too, is that, like you said, Jesus loved and accepted everybody, and he asks us to do the same. We don't always have to get along, but we love each other because we're all part of God's family, and that's a really wonderful thing to remember.
Yeah, I think sometimes we use this word love as an emotion thing, but love is more of a caring thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, it's more caring. So if you're caring, well, that means you can be kind to somebody, you can help somebody if they're down and out, but you don't have to actually have this emotional contact.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Maureen, if you had one thing that you wanted us to remember, or something that you've learned that you'd like us to know about in building or creating those relationships with each other, what would it be?
I've learned that you have to, there's a few things I've learned, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
You have to respect each other. You have to respect. You have to give each other, or you have to give the other person in that relationship space. You don't smother that person. You've got to be, you can't grab them and say, you're my best friend, you're not allowed to go anywhere else. So I think there's got to be this freedom and this respect. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, great.
I think relationship. I mean, there's certainly caring and all of those things, but the most important is you respect that person, and I think that's
wonderful.
the two. I think the most important ones. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much, Maureen. We've learnt lots of things today, and I think when I was asking people about sharing for all these different weeks, when I thought about relationships, you were the first person that popped in my mind. And I think it's because you are a really wonderful picture for all the members of our Lifeway community about that, like you said, that caring more than just a friendship, but that really genuine caring for people, of honestly wanting to know how people are going. And I think so. Thank you. Thank you for being that for our community. And thank you for sharing with us today.
It's been a pleasure, Elise. It really has been. I could tell you lots of stories about relationships.
Sure. And we would like to have you back again another day to hear another one of those. That would be really wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Maureen. We'll talk again soon.
Will do. Bye.